Let's talk about Albert Marco, who the LA newspapers called the Black Baron of the underworld. You know, it's LA, so they're going to carry things a bit far. His real name was Marco Albori. He was a hat maker in Tyrol, Italy, which is on had been the Austro-Italian border. He moved to Southern California in the early 1920s, became a bootlegger, and figured out there was more money in providing vice to the very wealthy in the area. You know, porn flicks, girls, whatever they needed. He got in really close with these two guys, Charles Crawford and Ken Kane Parrot. They were both attorneys. They were active in politics. They had offices in City Hall, even though they weren't elected. And they formed something. It was this loose confederation of criminals. It was called the City Hall Gang. So if you wanted to pay a cop, if you wanted to pay a prosecutor, you had to go through them. And they got their cut, and they arranged everything. If your guys got arrested, you got hold of them, and they got hold of the prosecutor, and so forth. Raymond Chandler, who wrote these wonderful books, the villainous characters in his books are based on Crawford. Crawford was assassinated with his other partner in his business office in 1931. Somebody walked in and shot him dead. He double-crossed a lot of people. It was a weasel. Anyway, what happened to Marco is this guy was a peasant. He came to LA. He made a lot of money. He didn't know how to behave or act. People didn't want him around, is the impression I'm getting from what I read in the research. Anyway, June 28, 1928, he goes to the Ship Cafe, which is part of the Ship Hotel in Venice, California. It was a boat put on pilings, and it was a replica of Juan Cabrillo's Spanish galleons. It was a great attraction on Venice Pier. People came from all over the country to see it. It was a very high-priced thing. It had private dining rooms, salons. The staff wore 16th century naval officers' uniforms. It was demolished in 1946, but while it lasted, it was quite a sight to see. So Marco staggers in with a couple of his guys and 6 women. One of them is his girlfriend. I put a picture up here for you. He goes into the men's room and he gets somehow into a fight with this guy, Dominic Conterno. Conterno was, from what I could see, a bootlegger. They didn't outright call him that in the newspapers, but I think that's what he was. And this other guy, Harry Judson, who was just a comic at the club. So how he got involved in the fight, who knows? The fight pushes its way out to the main room. Marco starts to leave. He turns around, pulls out a pistol, and he shoots them both. He gets Contero in the groin, wow, and he wounds Judson pretty badly. He gets jumped, they handcuff him, they take him to jail. He's eventually convicted for assault with a deadly weapon. He's sent to San Quentin for 6 years. San Quentin's a state prison. He served 4 of the 6 years. They were fooling around with this guy. People really wanted him out of town. And in 1933, he cut a deal. He said, if you let me out early, I'll voluntarily deport myself, which he did. And then the little snake, he wandered back in here in 1937. Somebody recognized him, and he was arrested, and he tried to get back in the country, but it was denied. He was booted back out. I checked Ancestry.com.